Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda always keeps me on check, so I appreciate it, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you to everyone. Welcome to the September edition of Check It Out. I'm so excited that you guys are here. Let's get started. We got a lot to cover today. So today's plan, what do we got going on? I'm going to move my camera real quick. We're gonna share a story time standout, and I kind of played with a little bit of the format this time around. I have one story time standout and some themes for you to think about as you plan out October, since October's around the corner. I have a couple early readers on hand. This month, I've got some picture books and board books, and I have a special series alert that you're gonna have to check out. We'll cover a couple children's nonfiction titles for your review, some middle grade fiction titles to get on your radar, graphic novels, teen fiction slash what I'm reading, because there's so much out there. I'll also share some information about upcoming events to put on your calendars and giveaways. So here we go. And for those of you that are new to library land, or you're a new director, or you're a new youth librarian, or a new teen librarian, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you. My name is Janeé Jackson-Doering. I'm the Youth Services Consultant with the State Library of Iowa. Down below is my contact information. You can reach me by phone or email. Please reach out if you have any youth-related questions or issues, or hey, I'm planning a teen program. What do you think about this idea? Or just getting any type of feedback. Please reach out. I would love to visit your library. I was at Fort Dodge yesterday, and they have a wonderful space. But anybody that has seen me out and about, they know that when I stop at your library, I bring a goodie bag of books with me for you to keep. So please consider reaching out to me. And every month I post something that has brought me joy, some type of joy in this busy season of our lives. This month, the thing that has brought me joy for September is that I got to take a two-part mini writing course on horror fiction for teens through the Highlights Foundation. Yes, Highlights. Remember that magazine as a kid where you found the little things on the back of the cover? The Highlights Foundation is an organization that promotes up and coming writers and seasoned writers. And they have courses to further your craft or just get into writing or storytelling. And I've been dabbing and thinking about writing a novel for teens or for adults, and mostly a horror novel. So I got to take my first delve into writing horror fiction. So that brought me joy this month, just learning the tropes and the trends. So I hope throughout this month and next month, I hope you find something that brings you a little bit of joy, whether it's in the day or on the weekend. I hope you take that time to find that joy for you. And just as a reminder, check it out for those that are new, and or if you've been here for the long haul. Check it out. Spotlights a range of books for readers ages 0 to 18. We review a lot of sources. We look at a lot of review sources to bring you a different array of titles. But just remember, you know your collection best, you know your community best, and you are always the final decision maker on what new books will work best for your library. So here we go. And thank you, Carrie. Thank you for the lovely compliment. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to move to story time standouts. And I know some people are like, what the heck are story time standouts? I don't know what she's talking about. Simply put, story time standouts are the best books to use for story times. And this month, we have a classic that's been interpreted in a different way. This is called The Itsy Bitsy Spider. This is written and illustrated by Jane Cabrera. If you're familiar with Jane Cabrera, she has a series called Jane Cabrera's Storytime series, where she takes a nursery rhyme and illustrates it and works with that nursery rhyme, but expands it using that nursery rhyme and kind of the sing-song pattern that it follows. So The itsy bitsy spider in this story can't wait for the rain to come down because that's when he gets to ride his bug water slide. But not all of his bug friends know how to swim. So the bug, the itsy bitsy spider, and his friends, they have to put their heads together to think of a different way to have fun. And it starts with the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. And then it goes, the itsy bitsy spider found it so much fun. He asked all his friends if they would want to come along. I know, so you kind of have to stretch it out a bit. Um, but that gives you an idea of what the itsy bitsy spider is. This has gorgeous illustrations, beautifully illustrated for kids. If you have like a baby rhyme time, this would be perfect because nursery rhymes, they develop, they help kids develop language and they hear the sounds and words. So pick up the itsy bitsy spider. So with story times, and I know we all plan story times, or oh my gosh, I'm forgetting what to do for a theme. I wanted to have a little different approach this month. Um, it's hard sometimes to find ideas for themes. So for next month, for October, I thought I would suggest some different story time themes that you could do at your library. Um, a lot of people don't know that National Fire Prevention Week is every October. This year, it's October 5th through the 11th. Um, as part of National Fire Prevention Week, if you are looking to have a different theme for story time at your library, you could consider inviting a firefighter to your library for story time. Maybe you have them read a story about firefighters and what they do, what they wear, and have them bring their equipment and show the kids what the fire coat looks like, what the helmet looks like, what the hose, the fire hose that they use. Have them bring their equipment to show the kids. And better yet, if they have their fire truck available, have them bring the fire truck to your library and have a touch a truck for the kids. This was something that my previous library did every year. Every October, they would invite the firefighter to come talk about their job, and they brought the truck with them. It was wonderful. We had a wonderful time doing that. So that's just something you can consider. And if you need firefighter storytime books, I have two that fit the bill. Um, Fire Engine Number 9 is a oldie but a goodie. This came out a couple years ago, written and illustrated by Mike Austin. And this is told entirely in sound words, but it's the day in the life look at firefighters and their fire truck and what they do during a 911 call. It shows the firefighters sliding down the pole, racing through town, and climbing up the ladder truck to save people from a burning building. It also includes fire safety tips in the back of the book from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Firefighter Flow is another great book that is written by Andrea Zimmerman and illustrated by Dan Yacarino. In this book, Flo is woken out of bed. Last night at the fire station, with a jingly jang, the telephone rang. Ring, 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 ring. So Flo is woken out of her sleep and she rushes to put on her fireproof suit, and her and the crew rush off in their truck. They douse the fire with a big hose and rescue the family pet. So kids will get to hear the clang clang of the siren, the whoosh of the fire. But this is these two are perfect stories that you could use for a firefighter story time. And I'm looking at the chat, and yes, Emily said she had 80 people come to see the fire truck for story time. And Brianna says if October doesn't work, she has done a firefighter story time on May 4th, which is also International Firefighter Day. Thank you. That's awesome. Those are great. And oh, for other themes, I put some other themes down below. Apples and pumpkins would be a great one. On the farm, harvest, and we also have a story time kit that's harvest story time here at the State Library that you can check out. Think about fall leaves, fall colors. Of course, Halloween. But if your library doesn't celebrate Halloween, maybe you could do a monsters theme. Um, and the book to your right is one of my favorites that I used for story time for to talk about apples and pumpkins. It is called Apples and Pumpkins. It's written by Anne Rockwell and illustrated by her daughter Lizzie Rockwell. And when red and yellow leaves are falling from the trees, a little girl goes with her parents to a farm and they pick apples and pumpkins, and she has to choose the best pumpkin of them all. And when she gets that pumpkin home, she carves a jack-o'-lantern. So the kids learn about what a jack-o'-lantern is. And they learn for jack-o'-lanterns, they put them out on the porch. And so on Halloween night, her mother hands out shiny red apples to the kids for treats. Um, Super cute, super engaging. I love the illustrations. They're very warm, they're very fall filled. So these are some ideas for you if you are struggling to come up with some fun ideas for October. And Christy also said, I just want to read her comment, pumpkins or apples, for pumpkins or apples, invite a local orchard, yes, or a gardener as a guest reader, absolutely. Barbie's doing an apple theme with crafts and a cooking class that they'll make caramel apples. Oh, that sounds yummy. I would love a caramel apple. Thank you guys for all of those wonderful suggestions. We're going to turn our attention now to early readers, and there were a few this month. So here we go. The first one is called Big Bub, Small Hat. This is written by Alistair Heim and illustrated by Aaron Blecka. Big Bub is a purple monster, furry monster. He wakes up, puts on his socks and his shoes, and runs to the mailbox. Big Bub is enamored by a big brown box, and that's what you see at the top. Big Bub sees a big brown box, and inside the box is a turquoise hat. But there's a problem. The new hat is much too small. Big Bub doesn't mind at all. So, when Big Bub runs out to the yard, he notices that the wind is blowing and the air takes his hat off his head. Um, he runs out to the yard. Big Bub feels the wind blow hard. He tries to jump in the sky, but he can't reach his hat. He runs again and finally catches it until he sees a bigger hat, on top of a smaller monster. Together, both monsters exchange hats and they're both happy. And each sentence is repetitive in this book. It starts with big bub, big bug, big bub until something is happening with the hat. There's rhyming words, hat and that, yard, hard, sad, air there, etc. The sentences are short and simple for kids that are beginning to read and they can understand them. The illustrations are bright. I love the purple against the turquoise. They're bright and colorful. I love those colors. Um, and I appreciated that this story was action filled for kids and that this story has two reading comprehension questions in the back of the book that ask kids if they can think of other words that rhyme with hat. So it's helping them think, oh yeah, hat, cat, bat, mat, sat. I appreciate that because just building that reading comprehension. This is a fun addition to a beginning reader or easy reader collection. The next book is Elvis and Romeo Visit the Vet, written by David Soman and illustrated by Jackie Davis. In this edition of the Elvis and Romeo books, Elvis and Romeo are visiting the vet for checkups. But Elvis doesn't want to go or even talk about it. Elvis doesn't like shots, and who can blame him? I don't like shots either. But Elvis changes his tune when Romeo tells him that the vet gives treats. But I love these two pictures. He says, are you seeing the vet today too? I don't want to talk about it, Romeo. Romeo is the bulldog, and Elvis is kind of like a golden retriever. And Elvis says, or sorry, Romeo says, "What is there to like going to the vet anyway?" And Elvis says, "There are a lot of things to like." I love this. Again, simple sentences. Anytime Romeo is talking, it's in kind of like a light green. Uh, Elvis is talking in like a peachy pink color. Very simple sentences, cute illustrations. This is another winner from David Soman and Jackie Davis. This one is my absolute favorite. The tunneler tunnels in the tunnel. A lot of repetition of sounds, a lot of onomatopoeia. This is written and illustrated by Michael Rex. And this is about a penguin, a tunneler that's tunneling in the tunnel. But why? And where's this tunneler going? So, this is a fun, colorful story, and it's following a penguin tunneler as he digs through different places with a surprise ending at the end. From digging into a banker or a vault at a bank to seeing an outfielder catch a baseball at a field to a hiker hiking on a hike. The tunneler finds at the very end, he finds a rock and a surprise. What is the surprise? The tunneler hosts a party for all the penguins, and the last spread says, "You are invited." But each sentence, or on each spread, it says, like at the very top, the tunneler tunnels in the tunnel. The fielder fields in the field. The tunneler tunnels in the tunnel. So it has that repetitive of what the action is and that sentence, the tunneler tunnels in the tunnel. Very repetitive. Sentences are short. They're usually one sentence per page. The illustrations have lots of detail. I love this first picture at the very top where it says the tunneler tunnels in the tunnel. You can have a conversation right there with kids because they can point out all the things that they see in the dirt. There's a hat, there's a tire, there's a skateboard. I like this picture because it really gets conversation started with kids. And this is perfect for one-on-one sharing. Um, this is another fun addition to a beginning reader or easy reader collection. And again, good for that one-on-one sharing for caregiver and child. Okay, we are going to move into picture books and board books and the special series alert in here. So here we go. First book on the list is called Zip Zack Wickety Whack. I just love saying that. It's a story about sharing. This received a starred review in Kirkus, and this is written and illustrated by Matthew Diffie. And in this story, there's a lot of farm animals on the farm. The cow says moo. The horse says neigh. Everyone can agree on what they say. But when the sheep says baa, the goat cuts in. The goat also says baa. But now what? No one wants to share their animal sound. So the sheep gets an idea. He says to the group, he'll just say something no one has ever said before. Zip zap wickety whack, bing bang, walla walla, walla balla, flip flap, yakety yak. Say that 5 times fast. But an otherworldly visitor, an alien, shows up to claim the sound that the sheep just made. And the alien doesn't want to share that sound either. But the alien proposes a new idea, and the sheep and the goat find a compromise. This is adorable. This lends to a fun story time. You can have an animal story or farm animal story time with this, especially if the kids trying to say zip zap, wickety whack, bing bang, walla balla, flip flap, yakety yak, wing ding dilly. Um, it's super fun. I love these illustrations. Very warm, very lifelike. Um, Definitely grab zip zap, wickety whack. Moving right along. Our next book is called My Abuela is a Bruja. This is written by Mayra Cuevas and illustrated by Lorena Alvarez Gomez. This received starred reviews from Publishers Weekly, School Library Journal, Book List, the Bulletin for the Center for the Children's Books. And this is about a granddaughter who loves her grandmother. And she's realizing there's nothing more magical than a grandmother's love. But this granddaughter suspects that her grandmother has actual magic. And she said, what could it be? Is it the tun 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 of the way she dances, the way she dances salsa? Or is it in the warmth of her hugs? And or the delicious smell of her cooking when she makes salsa and flan? And the granddaughter wonders at the end of the story, will I have magic of my own one day? And I love these pictures. These pictures are just moving and colorful and bright and full of movement. The back matter of the book features an author's note about her own grandmother. There's a glossary of Spanish words used in the story, and there's recipes on how to make abuela's sofrito, because in the story she makes sofrito, which is a veggie herb puree. And there's a recipe for abuela's flan, which is like a custard, a cold custard. Very beautiful, perfect for Hispanic Heritage Month. Uh, Take a peek at My Abuela is a Bruja. Next book on the list is Sundust. This is written and illustrated by Zeke Pena. This star reviews in School Library Journal, Kirkus, Publishers Weekly, and the Bulletin of the Center for Children's Books. I had a librarian recommend this to me, and when I took a peek at it, I just fell in love with it. The illustrations are gorgeous, they're unique, but it centers around two curious things: board, their board, and their wall. There's a little closed border, and it says, where the rock will end, the desert beyond begins. And so they climb this wall to explore everything in the desert. They find prickly old nopal trees that are begging to be climbed. See empty turtle shells. They see a colibri. They see so many different things. This is a book that you just want to hold and just look at because it's just so gorgeous. So when you get a chance, take a peek at Sundust. Now I told you there was a surprise alert, and guess what? It's pigeon alerts. I don't know about you, but I'm crazy about pigeon. I saw a whole bunch of new pigeon books that are coming your way. So we've got a special all about pigeon alerts. And all of these books that I'm sharing with you today are written and illustrated by Mo Willems. And there's one book that's out already, but there's a couple that are coming out that you get later. The first book is a book. It's called The Pigeon Won't Count to 10. This is about our good friend the pigeon. And our good friend the pigeon is refusing to count to 10. And he's telling you why. And so he says, I will not counting yesterday. And three, I have things to do. So this book counts all the way up to 10, and the kids get to see what kind of antics the pigeon is doing, so that way the pigeon doesn't have to count to 10. So this book is already out already. The Pigeon is back with another book that is coming out February 20th of 2026. This is called The Pigeon Won't Say the ABCs. Now, this pigeon is fidgety, and this pigeon is refusing to say the ABCs. In the bottom page, he says, I will not say the ABCs because A is for achoo. I have an alphabet allergy. Also, I am busy, as the pigeon sits and reads a book and eats a cookie. C and D, I cannot. I have a bus to drive. E and F, this is embarrassing. I forgot my license. But I still won't say the ABCs because, gee, I have somewhere to go. So each letter stands for something that the pigeon is doing. So that way he doesn't have to say his ABCs. And while he's saying all these things, kids are picking up the letters. The letters are in clear, big text, so you can see them at the top in different colors for kids to point out and say, oh, the A's in my name. So definitely grab Pigeon Won't Say the ABCs. Again, that release date is February 20th of next year. And guess what? There's another pigeon book coming out March 31st of 2026. It is called It's My Bird Day, and it's an annual event. This new picture book addition to the Pigeon series celebrates the pigeon's birthday. And in the pictures, he says, I am so excited. The pigeon got his hat, a hot dog cake. Yeah, a hot dog cake. It is hilarious, Alex. And presents galore. He says, I am so excited. I will do all the birthday stuff today. I will display my fancy plumage at my birthday party. I will blow out the candles on my birthday hot dog. My birthday, just for me. But the pigeon notices somebody already beat him to it. Somebody blew out his candle and ate his birthday hot dog. And I have a funny feeling that little duckling has something to do with it. But readers will get to see Pigeon and the duckling figure out who just ate his hot dog and blew out that candle. Great for a birthday story time. So check out It's My Birthday. That's a lot of pigeon, and I can't wait. That's going to be so exciting. So we're going to switch gears now. And I have two not children's nonfiction selections for your review today. The first book is called The Atlas Obscura's Explorer's Guide to Inventing the World. This is written by Dylan Turras and Jennifer Swanson and illustrated by Ruby Fresson. This received a starred review in School Library Journal, and this is a illustrated STEM-oriented book about the planet's 50 most interesting inventions and scientific discoveries. This is geared for middle grades, and I love the illustrations. I showed this to one of my coworkers, and I have to agree, the illustrations remind me of the illustrator that did Tintin, The Adventures of Tintin. It kind of reminds me of those illustrations. Um, but it's a trip around the planet and across time. This book has each spread, and it's focusing on a world-changing technology or how it led to influence the tech or discovery on the next page. So kids can read and learn about the Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. They can learn about the evidence of humankind's earliest control of flames and how fire was necessary to create essential tech, how glass was made in China, all different kinds of things. And you can look at comets through telescopes. There's unbreakable codes, garbage with space garbage with lasers, and so much more. But this just gives you an idea. These illustrations and spreads give you an idea of what kids are looking at when they are viewing this book. It's packed with lots of information, and I love, again, the illustrations are amazing. This book, I actually got a copy from NetGalley, and it was a digital NetGalley copy. This book could be put into your picture book collection or children's nonfiction collection. This is called I Truck, A Big Rigs Epic Trip. This is written by Kelly Rice Schmidt and illustrated by Jam Dong. This will be released October 7th. And this is a very cool story about a woman truck driver. And so she and her trusty pup are loading up their items and getting ready to deliver and drive cross country. And this spread says trucks keep cargo flowing and keep the country going. Honk honk, hello. And you can see in each truck, the illustrator showed what's inside each semi truck or each big rig. So this truck has, looks like vegetables and a couple vegetables there. There's some books and a computer in the other rig. And Our truck driver that's featured in the story, she's delivering toys. So um, the truck rumbles to the warehouse to pick up a load of toys and encounters many other trucks along the way. Her truck makes multiple stops for deliveries. They encounter a snowstorm and navigates steep mountain roads. You also see her going to a weighing station to weigh the truck, which I thought was really cool because to see how that works for kids is very important because you have a lot of kids that love cars, trains, and trucks. And the text is rhyming. Horns blare, eyes glare, people everywhere. I tremble with every turn, trying to keep everyone safe. It's cool when she's going up the hill and she's got these tight turns and she says that. And it really puts readers into the position of a truck driver trying to make those tight turns to make sure they can turn safely. And that way people are safe on the street. And I love this image of her in her cab because I think kids want to know, how do they sleep? Where do they sleep in a truck? Um, so very, very engaging illustrations. Um, and she's checked this one picture up above. She's checking her tires and her fuel. It says inspection time. Tires firm? Check. Fluids full? Check. So it's showing all the things a truck driver does. On the next spread or the next page that I have, there's some cool items in the back of the book. This picture at the bottom, it shows a truck from top to bottom. So it labels all the parts of the truck and what they do. This green picture that's square here is a seek and find. So the kids have to find the items that are in the circle. And at the top here, there is a little sidebar called Trucker Talk. Since truckers use the CB radio, they put the codes down to let kids know what those codes mean. Um, so very informative picture book. So if you have a cars, trains, and trucks section, or if you need some truck books for your nonfiction section, take a peek at iTruck. Moving right along, we are switching gears once again, and we're going to move to middle grade fiction. Here we go. Oh, Amy from West Des Moines, she says there's also I Ship. If you guys are interested, I Ship and I Fuel as well. Thank you for sharing that, Dad. We really appreciate it. The first book on my list, and I had to have just a couple for middle grade. This is called The Last Resort. This is written by Aaron and Trada Kelly. And I need to mention that this is the first book in a series. This is a brand new series that's offered by Scholastic. This received star reviews in Kirkus, and it was a kids indie next book pick for September and October. Erin Entrada Kelly is a two-time Newbery Award-winning author. Um, this book I really, really connected with. 11-year-old Lila is known to her family as being a drama queen. She's very melodramatic, and her family's kind of sick of it. Her younger brother is like, "Oh, you got to stop being so dramatic." But Lila's been working on that. She's been trying to keep her melodramaticness on check. When her parents inform her and her and her younger brother that their grandfather, who they've never met, Grandpa Clem, has died, they have to spend part of their summer at his inn. And his house is not just an inn, it is a huge, creepy looking house. And Lila is silently protesting. She doesn't want to go. She has two friends that she's trying to reconnect with, and they are just not dealing with her melodramaticness. So Lila and the family travel to the grandfather's house, and on their way, the family gets into a scary car accident, but they're all okay. But after this accident, Lila can now see ghosts. She can now talk to ghosts. And so once they arrive at their grandfather's inn, she sees ghosts everywhere. And her grandfather, Clem, was a keeper of ghosts. He could communicate with ghosts. And the crazy thing is, Lila now sees her grandfather Clem. And Clem says to her, "Please help me. I've been murdered." So Lila and then a neighborhood boy named Teddy and her brother all have to solve what happened to Grandpa Clem and help him go to the afterlife. Um, this is a pretty deep book. I loved it. The cool thing about this book is that there are QR codes inside the book, so kids can scan the QR code and they can actually talk to the ghosts that are in the house. Um, Very, very cool. I love the interactiveness. I got to play with the QR codes a little bit, and then you ask it questions and it answers you back. They're very limited questions, so it's not like you can't ask them about, what do you think about the future? No, they're very limited questions. Um, but it's very interactive for kids. There's a second book planned for this series, and the second book is being written by Jasmine Warga. Um, so definitely, if you get a chance, take a peek at The Last Resort. The next book is called The Experiment. This is written by Rebecca Steed. This received starred reviews in School Library Journal, the Bulletin for the Center for Children's Books, and this was a Junior Library Guild selection. I listened to the audiobook of this via NetGalley, so it was a unique experience for me versus just having the hard copy. And this is a sci-fi mystery hybrid kind of story, and it centers around Nathan. Nathan is a typical sixth grader. He appears typical on the outside. He has his wonderful parents. He has homework, just like a normal sixth grader, and his best friend is Victor. But Nathan is learning that his family is from another planet and their time on Earth may be coming to an end. Nathan and his parents and nine other families are part of an alien species known as caste, and they are masquerading as humans in New York City. But Nathan discovers that something is wrong because he starts to unexpectedly grow a tail. And so him and his family are sent to the wagon. This is a mothership. Um, and Nathan is scared because he's noticing several other friends of his that are cast children, they are disappearing. And his longtime long distance crush, Izzy, who he adores, she's gone missing too. And once they get onto the wagon, um, it's it's not good. It's worse than Nathan expected. And so there's a lot of inequality, there's deprivation, other children are starting to disappear. And so Nathan enlists his best friend to help him solve what's going on. This is a fast-paced mystery. The audiobook for me was very fast-paced. The chapters move at breakneck speed. You wonder what's going to happen to these kids. It's filled with mystery and adventure, and it touches on themes of estrangement and assimilation and coming together. Um, so get a chance and read The Experiment. Moving right along, we are moving now to graphic novels. And I have a couple for you in this section, but I also have some in what I'm reading as well. The first one on my list is called North for the Winter. And this is a middle grade novel. I loved this. This is written and illustrated by Bobby Podesta. This is a holiday story for Christmas, and it's about 12-year-old Virginia. Virginia is traveling with her dad. Virginia just lost her mom, and her father is traveling with her to go to live in his sister's apartment. And so as the father is driving, he hits his tire on a patch of road because he wasn't paying attention. He was looking at the map, and he's outside fixing the tire, but Virginia just goes into the woods for a little bit, just looking around, and she trips over a branch and lands in the snow. But what she stares at is this big, huge reindeer. And it's this reindeer is part of Santa's crew, and because she has the little medallion that the reindeer is wearing, and she tries to tell her dad. Nobody believes her, and the aunt, when she meets her aunt, and she's like, "Oh, that's great," but she confesses what she saw to her neighbor Benny, who's this very chatty young man, and he's convinced that a flying reindeer can only mean one thing. This is all about Santa. This we got to get this reindeer back. So she is trying to get this reindeer back to the North Pole before Christmas. Very beautiful story. There's parts that are funny, engaging. I love it. So take a peek at North for the winter. And we have a series alert. We have a series alert. This time it is Big Nate, the comic series. Big Nate, No Harm Done. This is written and illustrated by Lincoln Pierce. And Big Nate in this edition, we all know Big Nate. Big Nate is a sixth grader. He's eager, he's enthusiastic, he's an enthusiastic middle schooler. And in this book, rumors are flying that Mrs. Godfrey, who he calls the villainous teacher, is now teaching eighth grade instead of sixth grade. Chad is on the verge of destroying Gina in the race for class president. And in their school paper, the Weekly Bugle needs a story. And Nate is always happy to make some headlines. And how does he do that? He allegedly starts an epic food fight in the cafeteria. No big deal. In this latest gut-busting Big Nate comic series, he's always stirring things up. If you have fans of Big Nate, give them this book. All right, we are moving with the time I've got left to teen fiction, what I am reading. Here we go. There's a lot that's coming out. This first book to your left is called The Dead of Summer. It is book one. It is the start of a new series. This is written by Ryan LaSala, and this has been getting a lot of buzz. It received starred reviews in School Library Journal, Booklist, Publishers Weekly, and I heard about it, and I have the copy on NetGalley, but Barnes& and Noble described it as an LGBTQ book that meets Stephen King, meets Holly Jackson, by the way of We Were Liars uh, by E. Lockhart. And when I heard that description, I was like, oh my God, sign me up. I'm for it. But this is about Ollie. Ollie is a young man that's returning to his island home of Anchor's Mercy. His mother is battling cancer, and she's been taking treatments to treat that cancer. But what Ollie doesn't know is that there's a supernatural plague that is spreading from the ocean, and it's causing a sickness, and it's turning residents into these zombie-like creatures called the Weepers. So this book is weaving in mystery, suspense, and a little bit of that eco horror. Very, very good. I love books that creep me like that, especially We Were Liars. I love We Were Liars because it has that twist ending that you don't see coming. And I was like, what? What? I was holding the book like this. I'm like, oh my God, what? So Dead of Summer, take a peek at it. This next book is called Empty Heaven. Uh, this is written by Freddie Kolch. And Empty Heaven received starred reviews for the Bulletin for the Center for Children's Books and Publishers Weekly. This main character is in the New England village, and this girl spends her summers with three of her best friends. There's Kisukwash, which is serene and idyllic, and the townsfolk's odd. They're just really odd because this town, they worship kind of this godlike scarecrow, and the girl's thinking, okay, this seems kind of weird. Um, but her friend Darian pays a surprise Halloween visit to her summer crush, a beautiful, unreadable girl named KJ, just in time to see her swept up in a bizarre harvest ritual. And now that she's seeing all this, this girl is forced to admit that good archeress is more than a quaint superstition by the townsfolk. This scarecrow, this superstition is completely real. Um, Spooky, I'm down for the spooky season, so I am all for it. So that is Empty Heaven. Also, we have two series alerts coming your way. Spy School. If you have fans of the Spy School series, they are in luck because book 13 is just coming out next month. It is called Spy School Blackout, written by Stuart Gibbs. In this 13th edition, there is a devious computer hacker that is pulling off the CIA's worst case scenario. They are shutting down power networks all over the world. And Ben and his network, or excuse me, and his fellow spies in training are forced to make an emergency landing of their plane in Indonesia. The chaos is beginning to erupt around the planet because of this hacker. And Ben and his team are closer to the mysterious hacker's base than anybody else. So, with all the computers, all the phones are down, there's no way to communicate with anybody at the CIA. So, Ben and his friends, they're facing this villain, they're facing assassins, pirates, sharks, and deadly lizards, all to stop this hacker. And, oops, let me go back. And we have another series alert from Magic Tree House. Magic Tree House, that series is moving into the graphic novel format. This is book 8 of Magic Tree House, the graphic novel, Midnight on the Moon. It's written by Mary Pop Osborne, but the graphic adaptation has been adapted by Jenny Laird. And in this version of Magic Treehouse, Jack and Annie are have traveled into the treehouse late at night to go to the moon, and they get transported into the future, and they end up on the moon in a moon base in the year 2063. The chapters are very quick, very lightning speed action in the book, short sentences, and it is very, very, very good for kids. So, we have a lot of upcoming events that are coming up. And I wanted to make sure you guys got this on your radar. So, for all of these events, register on Workday Learning. October 8th, which is coming up, we are going to be hosting the iRead Summer 2026 preview. Wednesday, October 8th from 1 to 2 p.m. We will have representatives from the iRead program talk about Plant a Seed Read. They will also share the theme for 2027 and information about upcoming webinars that iRead will be hosting as well as us. So please register on Workday Learning for that. For November, this this event for Pop YS Live, it's not on Workday Learning yet, but once we get it up there, we'll make sure to let you know. The topic for November's Pop YS Live is engaging caregivers during story times. I wanted to address that because sometimes there's just nothing more annoying when you're trying to read a story and keep kids engaged and you have people either on their phone or they're having little side conversations. It's just annoying. So I want to give you guys some tips and tricks to combat that and redirect the adults in the story time room so that way they can be more engaged with their kids. So that will be Wednesday, November 12th. Plan for that date from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. And don't forget, we have story time kits, we have STEM to go kits. They can check out for 5 weeks. We have a lot more kits on our website at statelibraryofoiowa.gov. A lot of people have commented they love the giant pipe building kit that we just got. A lot of people have said that they love the kids building with it. Also, at the top, we have our new indoor outdoor play kit. This kit comes with ABC stepping stones, so all 26 letters of the alphabet that kids can step on. There's a caterpillar tunnel. There's also a ring toss, and there's a parachute. These are all things you can check out from the state library. And so think about that when you have winter break coming up, or those days when kids are out of school for professional development days. It's there, you have all these days coming up, and you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to plan. We've got you covered. So take a peek at all of our kits. The Snow What Much Fun kit is my favorite because it has all the stories that you need for story time. You have finger plays, songs, all on the educator guides. And that Snow Much Fun kit has soft snowballs that kids can throw at each other to have a snowball fight without anybody getting hurt. The Munster Storytime Kit, that's a good alternative if you don't want to do Halloween. Maybe you do a Munster story time instead. Um, but take a peek at all of our kits. If you have questions, just let me know, email me or call me, and we can get something uh, figured out for you. Also, School Library Journal is having their Day of Dialogue. It's a free virtual event that's coming up on October 9th. This is an awesome event because you get to attend virtual author panels and you get to hear about different keynote speakers. You get to hear about the new books for kids, tweens, and teens for fall and winter 2025. You can also download free digital advanced reader copies of books. It's a great event. And one of the speakers this year is Jason Reynolds, who just wrote the coach book for the track series. But to register, it's free. It's a all again free virtual event. Go to that link, get yourself registered. It's an all-day virtual event. So if you can go to an event, that's great. If you can't, that's fine. They'll send you a recording once it's done as well. So if you're looking for new books, definitely attend the School Library Journal's Day of Dialogue. It is great. And for those of you that do multiple hats and you also order adult items, I definitely recommend also going to Library Journal's Fall 2025 Day of Dialogue. That's going to be October 23rd. Again, free virtual event. It features the biggest fiction and nonfiction books for adults for fall and winter 2025. You can download the free resources, virtual advanced reader copies. You can chat with book publishers, engage with authors, listen to author panels. So if you're at your desk and there's nobody around, listen to an author panel, talk about their books. And you can attend and fill out a form for credit, a CE form from us. I will be moderating the horror panel, The Monstrous and the Mundane, from 9 o'clock to 9:55 Central Time. So I hope you can make it. If you can register, the registration link is down below, or just go to libraryjournal.com and you scroll down to where you say Day of Dialogue. But for those adult librarians, this is a great resource for finding new and upcoming books for 2025 fall and winter. And of course, we have giveaway time. So 5 librarians from this webinar will win a Check It Out book prize pack from me. So make sure you put your first and last name and what library you're from in the chat. All packs will be delivered via the AEA delivery system. So congrats to our August winners, Janine Klein from Remsen Public Library, Betty Jansen from Palmer Public Library, Christine Grimm from Montezuma Public Library, Beth Kingdom from Redland Community Library, and Daniel Dickinson Thaden from Creston Public Library. Congratulations to all of you guys for uh, participating in our giveaway time. And oh, I also want to make one more announcement. If you have not filled out the summer library program survey for 2025, please do so before October 3rd. And for those of you that have done it already, we thank you because we value that input because that helps me and the team plan for summer reading 2026. So your information and your input is vital to me. So if you haven't had time, please make sure you fill that out before October 3rd. And when you fill that out, your library is entered to win a huge book variety prize pack from me. So make sure you fill that out before Friday, October 3rd. And that, my friends, is all I have. We'll be back on Tuesday, October 28th from 11 a.m. to noon with more new books, more new themes, more new fun. So we'll see you then.